All right.
Let me just put you up. I'm here in the background.
I see you.
There you go. I won't go anywhere, I promise. So have at it. We're excited.
Right.
We're excited you're here.
Okay, great. All right. So I guess the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the stuff that I use, the tools that I use. I get a lot of that. What do you use? What type of knives and what have you? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Exacto knife and the FrogTape.
Let's do it.
This is the Exacto knife. This one, I want to say, is like $1 or $2. It's the normal Exacto knife. It's available at Home Depot, what have you. This is the one that I use. I don't know if you can see that. It's a Husky. And then this is what it looks like open. This is the one I actually use here. Okay. So the FrogTape comes in 2 different sizes. If you can see that, one is just a little bit thinner and one is thicker. This is what the packaging looks like. Okay. Now, the most important thing that I want to go over is the cutting surface that I use. People ask me, this makes a huge difference. This makes a huge difference when you're cutting to get your line straight when you're cutting. So I honestly don't know where I got this from. I've had this probably maybe 8 or 9 years, but I do know they sell them at like Michael's craft store, Sally's, those sort of places. But this is the one that I use. It's about 23 inches by 23 inches. This is the name that's on there. It says Quilting Mate. And what other identifying information's on there? I think something down there in the lower corner. I don't know if you can see that.
June Taylor.
There is all sorts of cut lines. I don't know if you guys can see that, where it's had years and years of use, but I still have it and it's still good. So I'm not replacing it because I'm frugal and I don't like to spend money that I don't have to. Exactly. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the Coro. So this is just a blank sheet of Coroplast. If you guys can see, the lines are going vertical this way and they're going horizontal this way. Whenever you get ready to draw whatever it is that you're going to put on here, you want to make sure that they're this way so that when your stakes go up the bottom, you can stake your item. So just pay attention to that. The first step that I normally do is this bottle has water in it only because I use it to clean my signs after I pull them for the day. But Windex or any knockoff brand of Windex, I usually take that, spray the board with it, wipe it off before I spray. Some people use alcohol. I don't know if there's another solution. I'm a rookie just like you guys, and I need to probably share that with you. I've only been doing this since August 6th, so a lot of this stuff I'm learning as I go, and I'm just sharing with you as I learn it, just as Renick shares with us as he's learning. So it's just our little way of giving back. But that's what I do. So we just spray it and then it's ready to go. Next thing I want to go over is the technique with taping, because this is important. I'm going to scoot the camera up just a little bit. Good. And I'm going to try to go as quickly as we can tonight, just so you guys can kind of get an idea. But the technique when I tape, all right, when you're first starting, it's going to take you longer. If this were easy, everybody would be doing it, okay? Everybody would be making these great things, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like trial and error. I'm going to show you some stuff that I totally botched on. My daughter is doing TikTok dances in the background, and I wish she would go somewhere. But at any rate, this is what I normally do. When I start the tape, I don't put it here, and then I stretch my tape out like this. Across. Bam, bam, tear. Now, the important thing is when you're getting ready to do this, I'm going to start here and then I'm going to layer on top of this. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'll show you why in a second. But this is how I tape my boards. And you're just basically overlapping from the one before. And that's it. Okay? So you would go here, 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 all the way up. Yep. Once your board is done, it should look something like this. Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Solidly taped board. Now, here's the reason why it's important to layer it the way that you layer it. This is just a scrap piece from where I taped before the edge out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Husky Exacto knife.
Nice.
And I'm going to trace both of these, and I'm going to show you why it's important to tape the way you're taping. So if I'm cutting with the Exacto knife here, and these aren't just straight lines, this is just to show you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now the first one I'm going to show you, I'm going to peel this. I use my little Exacto knife as a peeler, as a picker.
Yeah.
All right, you see how that one piece came off there? Then I got to go back in.
Yeah.
And I got to do this piece. Okay, and it would be the same thing here. Now, if I start this, I don't know if you can still see that.
Yeah, we can
if
see
I
it.
start this down here, okay.
Now it's all going to come up.
Yeah. See how much easier and faster that is?
That's so much easier.
Yeah, it's going to save
What a
you time.
simple thing, right?
Yeah, very cool. So when you're taping, just be cautious of that. Like, don't tape here, then turn your board, and then, you know, because
Right,
it'll just make
right.
it'll take it longer to do that. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is, when you have your board, okay, say this board, what I do is, because my husband does the drawing,
Right.
it goes from my hand to him, and I love him to pieces, but he gets lost into his work. So he forgets that I have to have edges to this stuff, you know, and so he'll draw all the way to the board if I don't put boundaries. So what I normally do for him, is once I know which way my flutes are supposed to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know I want to stake them this way. I'll just do top.
Okay.
At the top, and
Yeah.
then that'll let him know that that's where the way his board needs to be turned. I think it's a good idea for anybody, because it's easy to get that, you know, twisted around and draw it the wrong way. Then after that, I take my handy dandy ruler, and then what I do is and you got to understand too, like, don't get lost in like exact measurements when you're doing stuff. A lot of this stuff is eyeball. They're going to be looking at it from the street. Right. So what is a imperfection to you? And I'm very meticulous about that. I like my stuff super perfect. I don't want spots on it. I don't want specks on it, because I'm military. So it's like dress right, dress, gotta be perfect. But it doesn't have to be. So what I do is I take my ruler like this, and I want to use something that you can see. Let's try this one. Okay. So I just line it up on the edge like that. Draw a line, line it up on the edge, draw a line, line it up on the edge, draw a line, and the same thing at the top. Okay, now this pretty much gives us a border. This tells him, you can't go outside these lines, because I need to trim around to give myself some edge to my piece.
Yeah.
So he'll do that, and sometimes he's good at it, and other times not so much.
Yeah,
and I'm fine with it, because I only have one artist. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you really quick. I'm not an artist, so this is just gonna be something that I think I can probably draw. Let's do a heart. Not that I have a reason to use this piece, but okay. So we got something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our little knife, and we're gonna trim this out. All right. So now let me back up. Now, ideally, I would probably cut this out, paint it, and then come out and trim it last. But because I want to show you two things in one. For example, I had one girl who wanted to know how to make balloons. And so this is similar because it has the curve to it.
Yep.
So in this case, I would say if you already have a balloon, or you already have something that you're copying or tracing, put it down, trace around it, cut it out, and then tape the edges. The reason is there's no point of using my perfectly great taped up board if I'm only going to be painting. I mean, the borders are just going to be white. because all this
Right.
inside is going to be peeled off.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and cut this out.
So can I say something while you're doing that?
Sure.
No, so what I remember the most about when I was cutting the FrogTape is that you really don't need to apply a lot of pressure, because if you apply too much pressure, then you puncture the coroplast. And because the FrogTape is so good, one of the epic benefits that the FrogTape does is that when you do cut it out, it doesn't bleed. And correct me if I'm wrong, Veronica. But
yeah, that's good.
So when you're cutting this green FrogTape, I'm telling like you need very little pressure. And if you puncture the coroplast, it's not the end of the day, but that should be a sign that you've probably pressed a little bit harder than you should.
Yeah.
Oh, you're cutting it. Now you're cutting it out. Okay, too.
Yeah, I'm totally
cutting the whole thing out. Okay, got it.
And you're right. I guess I use the like I say etching, that's probably the wrong word, but only when I'm just cutting out, like how I did before, when I'm only cutting out the tape. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You only want to put a little pressure on where the tape is, see that, where it overlaps.
Yep.
Because if you don't and you do it, when you peel it off, it'll leave little pieces.
Yes.
And you have to go back and try to trim that up. So this is what our heart looks like. And I'm going to take this off because I want to show you how it would be.
So awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and take this off. So if you did this, you could start with just a white, and of course my heart's crooked because I don't draw. But you would just start with a plain white board. You wouldn't even tape it. If you're doing something where the majority of the piece is going to be solid. When you get into stuff like the Hulk and the carrots that you guys saw that I've done that are maybe multicolors or what have you, those are things that you probably want to, tape your whole board before you do. But anything that is majority solid, you can start white and cut it. And then what you do is you take your tape.
So you're going to do the same thing that you did with the full square board now that you've cut out the heart? No, okay.
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you with solid pieces, you really don't have to do the whole board because the majority of that tape you're going to be pulling off and making it a color. So we just really want to do the edges because that's what's going to stay white. All right, so we'll just take this down really quick.
Well, what's interesting is this is the part where I struggled the most, right? Because I think what you're going to be going over, and correct me if I'm wrong, is when you say the border, right? You're talking about the contour line because you want to have your white edge around your actual heart.
Right.
So finding the correct half-inch, quarter-inch around the curves is brutal.
It is to a certain degree. In my opinion, like I said, this is all, you got to understand, this is in a yard where cars are going to be driving from the street. So you've got a little distance where it's a little forgiving. It's different for the actual consumer, the client, who's more than likely going to get up on your cards and look at them. That's why I like, not to have little dots here and there, what have you, just specifically because I love to exceed my client's expectation of what I'm giving them. So in this case, because there's curves, if it's just straight, you could just bend it over. See how these are straight? That's not really an issue. But when you get to here, to these curves, I just normally put a little
that's exactly what I did too.
Dot in there.
Oh my God.
And that's gonna let you peel that a little more rounder. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So now here's Renick. Renick, here's the tip for you. If you see, well, not this part, but see how here where there's like over here is thick, but it's kind of thin right here.
Yeah.
That's okay. We could add a piece of tape there. And then that's fine.
Okay.
Now, here's a trick. Whoops. Here's a trick okay. These are just 3 pencils. Okay. And I'm going to show you. All right.
Oh my God. Go.
See that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a pencil over here. This
Right.
is just an empty one. This is just an empty one. This is what's going to draw my line.
Correct.
This is basically keeping my distance. Again, you don't have to have it like, perfect.
Yes.
Like to take this and measure like that just takes too much time that I just don't have. And because, like I said, it's from the street, it's forgiving. I take my little pencil that's tape. I take it here.
Look at you. And because you have the pencil a certain width, that edge is going to be the width of that pencil.
Exactly. All the way around.
Love it.
Okay. So what I did was this. When I measured the pencils, I have pencils that are different thicknesses. But I took one of the flares that I already had and I measured the white border. And then I chose pencils that were that size that would give me the border.
Sure.
So, yeah, so that's what I did. So if you notice, like, if you see here,
yep, I can see it.
There's not enough tape right there.
Yeah.
So before I do that, what I'm going to do is fix that, put a little piece there, and then I can come back and draw that line there.
That is such an epic tip. I mean, I have to tell you that for me, I got stuck here. Okay, because what I would do is I would take that extra piece of tape and I'd make it real thin, and then I'd try to curve it. You know what I mean? You understand how meticulous that is, right? So the fact that you just did that so quickly makes me really mad. Because what ends up happening is because you have the straight line, you're never going to get it circular.
Yeah,
right?
You won't. But if you're following that curve, it's going to match however you cut it. I know, right?
I love it. Who knew? You did.
So, hey, trial and error. I'm learning every day.
Oh, it's great.
So what you do next is, and this is important, and I take my thumb and I just smooth. If you can feel across this, you can feel how it's kind of bumpy with the flutes. If the tape isn't really smooth, then when you spray it, it could seep and then it'll bleed when you peel it off. So you won't get that crisp line. So I just normally take my finger and I just go around any edge that I'm about to cut and just make sure that's flat.
Yep.
Then I take my little Husky Exacto and then I just trim on that line all the way around.
Now this is where we're talking about you don't need to press as hard. It's a very light press, correct? Yeah.
Exactly right.
Guys, this is such a huge breakthrough. Please just know this. Like, I struggled with getting this figured out, and Veronica just figured it out for me. So this is a big deal.
So now you have this, and so now what you're going to do is, and this is probably not the safest way to do this, so I'm sorry, but it's what I do. It's how I do it. All right, so we get this up. Okay, there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just tear this off and see, because we're following the way that we taped, it's just coming off much easier.
And let me just say this to everybody. What you guys don't understand is that if you use a different tape, like a masking tape or any other tape other than FrogTape, this process that you're going to do right now is going to drive you absolutely bananas because there's no other tape like FrogTape. And you will spend an extra hour just doing what you're doing now, and it will bleed. So you won't be able to use any of your stuff. So this tip is so epic because when you're done and you're so excited and you pull that tape back and you see it's bleeding, you're like, I'm out. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm gone. Am I right?
You're right. You're totally right. So then what I do after this, and of course, remember, we've already cleaned this off. We've already Windexed it off. The next thing that I want to talk about is the type of paint that I use and the type of paints that I avoid. Okay, so let me see if I could turn this to my paints right there. You guys
look at the color coordination, gang. Look at the color coordination.
I did that for you already. All right, so we've got paint. We'll start with this one. Okay, so this is a Rust-Oleum. Okay, and then the important thing to know when you're getting the paint is this. Right along the bottom where it says wood, metal, plastic, and more. Okay, they do have some Rust-Oleum that will not have plastic on it, and you don't want to get that. Now, the other brand that I have gotten, and I got these two because of the fluorescent colors. They were really, really bright and pretty, and I couldn't find them in the Rust-Oleum, so I was like, oh, this is fine. But this is the brand, Krylon.
Krylon, yep, I've used Krylon too.
It's beautiful color, beautiful color, but it doesn't stick to the Coro. So I'm still testing different methods to where if I can use the Rust-Oleum first on the Coro and then come back with one of these colors to see if it sticks. But the problem I had with this directly to the with the Coroplast, it just wiped. Like as soon as I sprayed it, it dried. I went back to touch it and it was just like it was wet. Like it didn't work very well at all. I don't know if all the colors are that way or if it's just the neon colors, but that it only took these two for me to say I'm not buying this anymore.
Right. Well, you know what's interesting? When I bought, so Rust-Oleum also makes a spray paint that goes on cars, right?
Okay.
Like, right. So it goes on cars. So it goes on metal, right? And when I used that, it had a completely different way that it sprayed on, and it was a black matte, and it looked incredible. That would be another thing to look at and test drive, because the black matte and only on cars is good. I'm gonna find it right now while you keep going.
Sweet. Well, what I'm gonna do really quick is he's gone. I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna go spray this really, really quick, and then I'll bring you right back.
Sorry, guys. So everybody knows the general. She's got to put this stuff away. But I wanted to show you guys that I'm not full of hot air and tell you that I have a whole thing myself. And believe it or not, I have the same kind.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Here's another thing that I learned too. Do not get the Krylon high heat. Do not use that one. That one goes on barbecue pits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You spray paint a barbecue pit?
Yeah.
Don't use it. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Your show. Go ahead. No, keep going. Keep going. You're good.
Okay. All right. So what I've done now is I've spray painted the heart, and we're going to let this dry a little bit. Yep. While this dries, I can talk about some of the other cool tips that can help you when things don't go the way you want them to. So I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Okay. So for example, this was a swimming theme that I had that it just was a fail. It didn't go well because I had it and I peeled off the wrong parts. I was supposed to leave the parts that are black and peel off the other part. But, adult beverages sometimes get in the way, and it just didn't go well. So it never made it to where it was supposed to go. But we're going to use this piece to show you how to clean up. Let me get it a little closer. All right, let's see. Okay, you see here's a spot that it didn't really stay. Here's another spot that's kind of off. Okay, so some of the things that I use to correct errors. This has probably been at this house for maybe 20 years based on the way it looks, but it works. And I tell you, I'm frugal. So if it's in my house and there's no expiration date on it, it's getting used. Okay. Point blank period. It's happening. All right.
I love it.
What we do is I'll take a little bit of this. This is paint thinner. I don't think it really matters about the brand or anything. There you go. There you go. So we'll just have a little bit of paint there. I've seen some people have written that they've used, I don't know if it was alcohol, I think, but it was something else. But I haven't tried anything else that I haven't had an issue with how it responds to the Coroplast. But I have used this and I hadn't had any problems with it. So I'll use a Q-tip, but it depends on where the correction needs to be made. If it's something that's along the line, I'll use something sharp and pointy, and then I'll twist some tissue around it so that I have a pointy edge that I can use. But if it's not, then I'll just use a Q-tip, and then let's see if I can get closer. You can see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's try this one on the leg here. Okay, so where his foot is, right here. You guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit here. And it's going to get smudgy and blurry first.
So you're putting the paint thinner on the Q-tip and you're rubbing it on the actual piece that's showing.
Yes. Well, this has been on here forever, and it doesn't look like it's working, you guys. Usually I do this right after I've painted it.
Yeah, right.
And it's not working. Oh, wow. This has been dry for probably about 2 weeks. So this may not be the way to go if you have something that hasn't. Yeah, this is not working. It's not moving at all.
That's interesting.
Okay, well, that's a fail. But usually
Don't use paint thinner.
normally, once I've done a card and I peeled off the tape, as soon as I peeled off the tape and I go to make the corrections, it comes right off. I've never had this issue before. I feel a little embarrassed, but it's really not really moving.
Let me ask you this question. Can you try with your Exacto knife to slice it off?
The paint?
Yeah, try it. See if you can pick it off with the Exacto knife.
Oh, I don't. Let me see. Let's see. Here's one.
No?
Yeah, it's coming off.
Okay.
Yeah, that's working.
That works.
Can you guys see that? But that is working, Renick.
Yeah, it might. I thought it might. See, there you go.
Yeah, that's working. Okay,
Again,
so now we just learned a new tip. When it's dry, use your Exacto knife. Who knew?
Hit it with the Exacto.
Who knew? Hey, hit it with the Exacto. Love the Exacto. Like it, love it, learn it. I love it. Okay, so next what we're going to do is, well, I thought I was going to show you about that, but that didn't work. So, all right. Okay, so we'll put the paint thinner back away.
All right, so can I ask you a question while you're doing that?
Once it dries, you can't do it. So it has to be, I guess, to use the paint thinner, it has to be when you, right when you're peeling the tape off. Otherwise, it didn't work for me just now. Okay.
So Mark asked the question, is there any way that you could paint the edges a different color of the heart?
Yes, you can paint the edges a different color of the heart, but you would have to tape the entire heart.
Okay.
So, for example, if you wanted to have a red heart with a black edge, the way that I've learned from trying to do the multiple colors that touch each other, and this is tricky, guys. And let me back up just a little bit before I answer that question for Mark. It's tricky to try to get into colors that touch each other versus 2 and 3 colors on one piece until you've kind of gotten used to dealing with one color on the card. Once you get an idea of that, then I would maybe say try the different colors and them touching, just so you can get used to the technique and everything. But to answer his question, I would tape the whole heart, how we did earlier, tape the whole heart, and then I would draw your line, your heart, peel off the inside, and then paint the inside. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you tape over because this is still going to have a taped edge on it. You're going to tape again, but don't put the tape on it until after the next day. If you try to do 2 colors that touch each other at the same time, what happens is when you put this tape on here, and this may or may not happen, but you put the tape on here while it's not fully dry, it peels off and you'll see that chloroplast. So they say 20 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes for it to dry. You can handle it within an hour and 24 hours for it to be completely dry. So if you want to do multiple colors, it takes, a little bit longer, but I will wait overnight, paint the inside, and then you're going to come back and do the same thing we did on the edges. And then you're going to trim. But when you trim, you're going to trim just slightly into your red. So that way, when you peel this off and you spray paint the edge, it's going to have a sharper line that's next to so if this is black and this is red, when you get ready to tape over, you want to make your cut just slightly inside the red
of the
so
red
that when
inside of the red off, got it. So when you peel this off, and then you'll put tape on this side or plastic or whatever you use to cover up the red part so it doesn't get black on it. If it's not that big of a piece, I'll just use tape over it, and I've learned that on the intricate pieces like the Hulk hands that we just did that had the little dynamite spikes shooting out of it. I just use
yeah, I just used the frog tape on all of that just to cover it up because it was too time consuming to have to put plastic on it and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but at any rate, once you have this done, it should be dry enough to handle now. All right.
This is the magic of frog tape, guys.
All right. All right. Which way did we tape it? Looks like this way.
Yes, you're good.
All right. So what we're gonna do. Yeah, I see that. Now, the other way to do it, like the two colors that he was talking about, you can paint the whole thing one color and then take your edges and do it that way.
Do it that way.
Yeah, it's you know, six, how do you say it? Half a dozen in
6
one,
to 1, half dozen the
something
other.
like that.
Yeah, 6 to 1, half dozen the other.
Yeah. So anyway, you just peel the edges off.
And there you go.
And there you go. All right.
Look at that.
Okay.
Man, I love it.
And there you have it. And in order, like on the balloons, I'll show you this little trick. But if you have the shape of the balloon, even in this heart case or what have you, I'm going to tape this now just so I can show you guys. But ideally, I would wait, you know, overnight so that the paint is dry.
Okay.
But I would just take a piece. Let's say maybe here. And a little piece here. All right. And then we're going to, just to bring a little depth to it. Okay.
So this would be like you're layering, right? You're layering another color?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I would do, and I should have showed you this before, but what I would do is, okay, now this is going to show you how the paint's coming up because I didn't let it dry. We already discussed that, so you guys know what to expect. Okay. So this is what happens when you put on top of the color and it's not dry.
Correct.
Now, if this is totally dry, the paint, it shouldn't
come off.
Yeah. All right. But when you get ready to tape it the first time, when we did the tape along the edges, you want to tape this on there and draw this on as well, because you want to leave this white. So that way, when you peel everything off, your heart will be red, the edges will be white, and this little thing will be white. And that's sort of like your sparkle or your shine that's on the balloon.
Accent. Yes.
Yeah. So it won't look super, super flat. It'll have just a little depth to it, you know. But, you know, I use that on the balloons and on the hearts and stuff. But that's it for that. The other thing that I want to talk about really quick is the cleanser that I use. When you deal with this, especially depending on the type of pencils that you have and everything, would you go somewhere? Oh, my God, these children these days.
Are they dancing in front of you? Turn the camera around. Let's get them.
You know, that's what I'm trying to tell her. I said, you want to be on TV? I'm going live. All right. So this is, I don't know where my husband got this from, but it was in his little shed with all his tooling stuff. But it works really good when you're dealing with the spray paints and stuff. It gets on your hands or whatever. But it's called Fast Orange. Maybe you guys can.
Does it have a grit to it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It is kind of gritty. Yeah, you can't really see all that great, but it's very gritty.
It's almost got like a sand texture to it, right?
Yes. It's abrasive. And when you do, it's just like tiny little rocks that are just cleansing your hands really good. But I love this stuff. It's really good. And then the last thing is these little containers. I think they like come like a dollar store or something like that. But they're just little plastic, I think 10 for a couple bucks or whatever. This is the touch-ups that we do. So anytime we do a piece, it almost never comes out totally perfect. Right. So my husband will spray some paint in here and then he'll touch up the little areas that need to be touched up. Okay. And that's what we do for that. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Everything else will come in time. I know I had questions about when you use at least 2 different colors.
Right.
How do you do it with the white in between? So for that, if we use this as a guide, you guys see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
All right. This might be better. Okay. So if this is a guide here, okay, and then this, and then this.
Okay.
Okay. So this here is my first color. So let's say that this is black. Okay.
Okay.
Around the black is white. So this tape, this color here, and we can even do another one if you want here. Okay, so this is black. I'm gonna put a W for white.
Yeah.
This is red. Okay, and this will be the actual white border that is gonna be the border of the actual. Yeah. Okay, so what we do is this inside color black, this will get cut out.
Okay? It gets cut out first, right?
It gets cut out first. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll paint this. Come on, get out of there.
So you hit it with the black first, with all the other pieces not taken out.
Right. But I'll go ahead and etch all of these out. Like so. Whoops. Put it down. It's easier.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah. All right. So I'll still etch out all the lines on here, and then I'll etch out all the lines. Any lines that I have, I'll go ahead and etch those out. Okay.
Okay. And you do it now instead of after when you've painted. For what reason?
Well, because it's easier for me, especially like if I have 2 or 3 pieces. Once I've spray painted it and then have to go and try to etch with the paint on it,
right? I
almost always get paint where I shouldn't get it, on my hands, on my elbows, touching stuff. Yeah. So when it's this way, it's less paint that's already on there. So I'll spray paint this part first. This is going to be white, so this green tape will stay on. Any parts that you want white, of course, you leave the green tape on. Yeah. So after I paint this, I'll let this dry. And again, guys, this, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. And, you know, it's like if you want something that is going to give you a competitive edge or what have you, in my case that I found, like I'm still trying to find my style. I'm trying to find my little own place so that when they see a yard card, it's like, that's birthday party yard cards. Like I know her style. Totally.
You know? It's your competitive advantage, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to bring. Not only that, I love the vibrancy of the spray paint colors. Like they're brighter. When I look at the displays, all of them are starting to look the same to me because we all buy from the same vendors. So when I see the Sweet 16 or I see the Fortnite or, you know, and it's great. And I buy it too. Don't get me wrong. My clients ask for it. I will get it. Okay. Right. Yeah. But I do love the custom stuff. So anyway, this is going to stay white. This would be red in here. So once this is painted, this here, get down.
I see.
I didn't cut that straight, so it's going to be crooked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go fast here. All right.
But this is where the creative aspect that we're talking about really comes into play, because it's more of a passion for you, right?
I freaking love it. love it, because and this is another thing, guys. Before you do this, the most important thing is you got to have ambience. You know, music, like I said, maybe an adult beverage, like you got to be having fun doing what you're doing this, and it's tedious, and you're not having fun. Then buy your flares. Like it's not. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to like it.
I love it.
You know. So at any rate, once you get the black part in here, and this is painted black, I'll take a piece of tape.
You tape over it.
Yep. And just tape over this part. This is a little bit too big, so we'll cut them smaller.
No, but I see now it all makes sense from a layering perspective, right?
So then once this is done, and then I'll cover this up. Okay. Now this is now covered up, and it won't be sprayed this red that I'm getting ready to spray now. Yeah. So this is already black. We've already waited the 24 hours. We're coming back. We're going to spray this part red. We'll spray this red. Once this is dry, then I can take off this and I can take off this. And now what you'll get at the end is you'll get a white border with a red border with a white border and black in the
And
center.
a black border.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then
I love it.
That's it. And I like putting the white in between the colors only because it's easier for me to put tape on this and cut out what I need. It's just easier for me. Like when I did the carrots or what have you, but I did do the Bethune-Cookman helmet and we put the colors like right next. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh.
That was really hard. That was hard to do, but I liked it. And that's really it. That's pretty much the gist of what I do. You know,
it's so good.
Everything else is, like I said, I'm still learning. And, you know, like today I learned that the freaking paint thinner doesn't work when it's dried over 2 weeks. You know,
you're always learning stuff.
Always learning stuff. And your platform and what you offer at no cost to all the newbies who are coming out trying to do this and stuff is just amazing. And you know, I've learned so much, you know, the videos that you post and everything. So I'm happy to give back. You know, we'll be starting up a channel soon at some point.
You have to.
Sharing stuff. I mean, my inbox stays pretty full now, thanks to you, Mr. Renick, which I'm happy about. I love all the feedback that we're getting and that, you know, everybody's enjoying what we're doing. So happy to share and glad you guys, you know, came in to check us out and what we're doing. And if I have anything that I haven't covered, let me know. Shoot me some questions. Let me know what you need.
Well, is there any questions that we have? Well, hold on. There's a couple more questions here. Let's see. You got a couple more minutes or you got to go?
No. Yeah, I'm waiting for questions. No, okay. I got you. Yeah.
All right. So one of the questions that was proposed to you, have you looked at trying to use vinyl at all?
Yes, I have. Okay. So my first situation with vinyl was the Hawk jersey, custom Hawk jersey. Let me grab it really quick.
See it. Let's get it.
All right. There we go. Okay. So.
Oh my God.
All right. So, hey, go Hawks! Yeah. my son goes to Spruce Creek, so I was happy that we got a ball player that won her.
You got shadows on that jersey.
Yeah, it's really cool. So with this, the local printer actually did this, but he's expensive now. Like when I first started with him, he was charging me $15, you know, and this is just for the sheet. This is just for, it's not on the Coroplast. It's just the regular vinyl sheet. Yeah. Wait, let me show you. Hold on.
All right, we're good. Don't hurt yourself.
Okay. So basically, this is how I get it from him. It comes on just the sheet. So I'm like, okay, $15-$20, you know, we can get those per piece, $11 to $13.50 from some vendors, you know, for the same size, but it's printed. It's not vinyl. And I do prefer the vinyl. It handles scratches better. Some people say that the colors don't last in the sun. I haven't had that issue with any of my pieces yet. But for this, what I like about it is I got the first time that I tried the vinyl, I wanted to put numbers on here so that I could reuse the jersey. Right. So if somebody else from the Hawks wanted, you know, the same display, I changed it. So I went to Michael's and I got the vinyl and then I got the pre-printed numbers. And so what I did was I put I stuck the black printed numbers onto the vinyl and I just traced around it so that it would be a black number with a white border. And the vinyl that I used is this.
Oh my God.
Well, of course the label's off of it, but it was just this 12-inch a roll of vinyl. And I put the numbers on it, traced around it. But the thing that I liked about this vinyl was that it was removable with no residue. So when I would put it onto the jersey, it was good. It rained the whole time. Nothing fell off. Everything was great. But then I could peel it off and it didn't affect the vinyl
behind it.
Yes. And so that's what I loved about the vinyl. So that was my first try with the vinyl. I am actually in the process of purchasing a printer. It's the HP DesignJet T, I think it's the T125 or T135, one of those. But at either rate, it's not very expensive. It's an inkjet printer. It's not the ideal eco print, ink type of printer. But because I've been talking with Kathy and she's shared with me her resources with the laminating and the cold press laminating and stuff. I think for what we're doing, that's all I really need right now.
Yeah.
And it's what I'm a frugal person. Like once I learn it and I got to work the kinks out, it may or may not be for me. So for this one, she's charging me $450 for the printer. It's a 24-inch printer, and she's printed, you know, the color fat heads with it and what have you.
Okay.
So I'm just going to try that out and see. It's a printer plotter from what I understand.
Okay.
So I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see, you know, how it does with the vinyl and what have you. And I'll be letting you guys know, but it's brand new, rookie. You know, I don't have any idea.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I watched, have you watched Kelly's video on buying printers for cheap? Have you tried that?
Yes. And actually me and her inboxed each other and we had a very in-depth conversation.
She is incredible. But let me just say this. I was in the same exact spot that you were in. And then when Miss Shelley showed me how she made a letter, I was just like, I got to do that. Partly because at my cost, it might have been $2 a letter as opposed to $10 at Victory Store. Yeah. Right? Yes. So as soon as she showed me how to do that, I went out and I spent $600 on a USCutter 28-inch. It came with vinyl and the software for my computer. Nice. And in a matter of 6 weeks, I had enough business to pay for the whole thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to say, you know, if I can order a piece and get it here in time for one of my jobs, I'm ordering it. Trust me. But in this business, as most of you know, it's a day or two notice sometimes. And, you know, I want, like I said, I want to set that bar high. I want them to understand, like, there's a difference in franchising and, you know, small business owners. And, you know, a $75 setup is not the same depending on which business you go to, you know.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I definitely, like I said, I strive to exceed their expectations of what they're going to get so that when they come out and they look at their display, they're overwhelmed. I hit it out of the park. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to satisfy them. I'm looking to exceed what they are expecting me. Yeah, definitely.
It's so awesome. It really is. It's really, you know what? Here's the great thing, and I'm going to share it in front of everybody. So what happened to me with my YouTube channel was when I was doing the videos, like with creating the balloons and doing the tape that I was telling you about, those are some of my most watched videos throughout all my 90 videos that I have. People are going back and they're wanting to understand exactly what you're doing. Yeah. So if you decide, and I will absolutely help you, to start a channel showing people how to do this, you will lose your mind. Listen, yes. I mean, I'm telling you right now that there is a need for people who want to do this, who don't know how to do it the way that you're talking about, that I'm telling you, it will absolutely explode. And if I can help you do that, you know I will.
I would love it. I would totally accept that help. Yes. I freaking adore you already. What are you kidding me? Yes.
Come on now, right? We're going to help each other out here.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, listen, you know, I think you absolutely, just after watching it tonight, this is also a part of your deal as well. Not only making the signs, but explaining how you do it, showing people how you do it. Listen, you will get hyper warped into a industry and in a world that you never thought possible, because that's what's happening to me. I mean, I'm thinking about things that I never thought before, primarily because I have people telling me to do it. I have women be like, you need to start a private Facebook group. I'm like, why? They're like, don't worry about it. Just start it.
Just do it.
I was like, all right, I'll do it. Right. So this is just, you are on the cusp of something epic if you decide to do it. I just want you to know, and I will help you.
I'm totally down. I love sharing. Awesome. I do. I absolutely love this so much. I mean, anybody who knows me, I didn't really tell you guys anything about me, but you know, I'm 49 years old. I'm a veteran. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. And I am that mom who's at every single cheer competition, every single band performance, every single cross country meet with a sign, with the that's my baby, you better go do it, you better do it. I'm like, I'm that one, you know, when all the kids that have jerseys and they need names put on the back of them, we're playing Pop Warner. It's like, oh no, we're all gonna go out there with our names and numbers on the back.
It's gonna happen.
I'm that one, you know. So I absolutely love it, love helping. It's I mean, it comes second nature to me. And I think that's why I gravitated towards you. Just your authenticity when you're watching your videos and how real you are, how believable you are, how you're not afraid to admit the mistakes and hiccups that you have along the way and what have you. It makes it more engaging. It makes it more believable. Like, yeah, I want to know more about what he's talking about. So I appreciate you. I really do.
Well, I love it. And let me just say this. I'm going to be 50 in January. So you and I, from an age perspective, are in the same exact spot. And what I can tell you is that if you get into, and I will, like I said, like I help you into this trajectory, like a YouTube trajectory, it will open up doors in a way that you have never, like if somebody told me 7-8 months ago to go and start a business or start anything on YouTube, I would say you're absolutely crazy. That's not the way you do it. That's not how it works. Well, at 49 years old, I am starting to see how people do it, and it takes time, but you know what? You know that I love it. You know, you clearly love it. And when you're able to share that, it does something completely different for the people who are watching you, because it gives them something that, you know, they're probably not used to getting, which is a sense of authenticity and honesty and things like that. So yes, you are on a roller coaster ride that I can't wait to see.
Oh, well, thank you. I think there was a question on here. Someone asked, where did I get my coral? I get my coral from Home Depot right now. Now, here's the trick with Home Depot. If you go into Home Depot, number one, there's a veteran discount, you know, that comes with veterans already off the bat. But number two, usually they will give you a discount when you ask for it. So if I got a sheet of Coroplast that costs $21 for the sheet, and there's a tiny little ding on the edge or whatever, they'll discount it 50%. They will.
Get out of here.
They will totally discount it. Totally. And then the other place I want to say, I think Grimco, they sell it, but you have to buy it in bulk. The more you buy, the less it is.
I buy all mine from Grimco.
Yeah, you got to go through an approval process. As long as you're a bona fide business, then they'll sell to you. So
correct.
Yeah, and that's really it. But Home Depot sells, and I think a couple of the local printers sell it as well.
Yeah, I know that when I went to Fast Signs, believe it or not, they fleeced me. They charged me $50 for a 4x8.
I heard about that.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
Heard about that.
And then I bought one for $30, thinking that was great. But at the time, it's exactly what I needed, right? Yeah. And then through Miss Shelley and others and Grimco, I pay $11.47 a sheet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's perfect. It's absolutely
awesome.
Perfect.
How many do you have to buy in order to get that price so low at Grimco?
So if you buy more than 10, it goes down like 75 cents. So I buy 11, right?
Got
it. I think I end up spending with tax, maybe, if it's over $100, I get free shipping. Probably like $138 for 11 pieces.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it all works.
Yeah, that's totally cool. Well, I do have 2 pickups that I got to go from.
Yeah, get out of here.
The Hulk and I think I had another one for a mom and her brother and dad or something. But I got 2 pickups and 1 install to do tonight. So I got to get out of here. But I tell you, I have enjoyed all of you. I've enjoyed sharing, and any questions you guys, I'm always available. Just hit me up.
And you and I, after I post this on YouTube, let's connect and have a conversation about how we get you off the ground.
Yes, I would love it, Renick.
Let's do it. We're going to make it happen.
Yes.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for being a part. Oh, before everybody goes, what I wanted to tell everybody is, believe it or not, on November 13th is National Kindness Day.
Yes.
Okay. Now, myself, Chris Allen Dale, Elisa, Lenore, Lisa, and Nell at Yard Card 101, and myself, we are putting together a Signs of Kindness scenario where on November 13th, we're going to ask all of our independent yard carters to out in their yard put signs of kindness in any type of font or any type of thing that they have. And what we're doing is we're sending out press release. David, who is actually in this live stream right now, is sponsoring us, and he's helping us create flashes that you can buy for very inexpensively, and we'll have more on that later. But this will be an opportunity for all of us who are independents. We're not putting in Card My Yard. We're not putting in Sign Gypsies. This is just independent professionals that are doing yard card stuff to get the word out about who we are and the voice that we have together, where if we can, in some capacity, with 100 or 50 or 500 different independent yard carters put out signs of kindness in their front yard, hey, what could happen? You know, I mean, we're going to make a statement because this industry is growing. And so we're doing that. So I want everybody to be aware of that's happening, and there'll be more to come on that going forward. But I just wanted to get that out there because it's going to happen, and it's going to come sooner rather than later. And with that, I will let you go.
All righty. Mwah! I love you guys.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
We'll see. We'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye. See you later.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.